Rev up your engines!
Well, here's some interesting news. A whistleblower is getting $24 million over the Kia fiasco about their engines that can start on fire and blow up. There's a squeal on Hyundai and Kia that they were just moving too slow. They knew these engines had problems and they were just trying to hide it. Just like GM tried to hide that ignition switch problem they had for years, changing the number of the parts and not telling. They knew what was going on. They just hid it. Now, this is the first award that the National Highway Traffic and Safety Association ever given to a whistleblower. It's also the maximum amount of penalty that they're allowed to give the Koreans for this, not telling them when they knew they had engine problems and keeping their mouth shut about it. Now, of course, this is legal stuff, so it's been going on for 3 years before they came to this. And they won't tell you who the whistleblower is. They have to keep it anonymous. Hyundai has been ordered to pay $54 million in civil penalties and $40 million to improve their safety and manufacturing process. All in all, the whole total fine was $81 million. The probe started in 2017. This is how slow justice moves in this country these days. Kia, of course, they denied the allegations, but they said, we don't want this to go any further, so we'll settle it. They never want to admit their fault, even when they get caught with their pants down. Oh, no, that wasn't us. We don't want to go to court anymore, so here's some money. This is absurd how this stuff goes. But the whistleblower comes out with $24 million. Ain't not a bad deal, you know? Of course, will they actually get the money? Who knows? Who knows how that stuff ever goes down the line? Where the money actually goes. They say civil penalties, these penalties. Where does the money actually go? Nobody ever tells anybody that stuff. And if it actually is it over 20 years or what? They never explain it, all right? Because, of course, it's all done in law courts. And I suppose a large percent of the money actually goes to the lawyers that are behind the thing. Like the case that I had a few weeks ago where the 10 people each got $5,000 that won in a class action, but the lawyer got like $67 million or something, a law firm. So who knows? But at least the whistleblower will get out with something. These people were cheating, they knew it, and they didn't know anything about it. And they still don't admit fault, though. That's the funny thing. Kia still doesn't admit the fault. They won't admit it. I guess paying out 80-something million is kind of an admission of guilt. You don't throw money like that around. Base Drew says, what are your thoughts about buying a used rental car and buying a used car from a dealership? I'm trying to decide what to do. Well, I wouldn't do either. First of all, I rent cars. Well, I used to all the time because I'd fly, but the airlines have all drove me nuts and they're so obnoxious and they keep raising their prices and it's so annoying. Then when you go to rent a car, they for $500 for 3 days or something. So I drive everywhere now. So I know those people, right? When I rented cars, I drove like a maniac. Most people do. You rent a car, it's not yours. You drive like a maniac. It might hit curbs and stuff. I would never buy a rental car for that reason. And they're maintained by kind of minimum wage workers. And half the time they never do it. I can remember so many times I'd rent a car and the service lights were on because they never serviced it. I checked the oil below a quart because they never changed the oil on time like they were supposed to because their oil pressure is, the car's in. Oh, we need more people. They got off the plane. Quick, give them that car. I've even got cars that weren't even full of gas because they were in such a hurry they forgot to fill it up with gas. Well, I don't want to buy one of those. Now, buying a used car from one of these national dealerships, they all just raise their prices. You can watch my stuff on Carvana and that, how I say they charge way too much for the cars. When you buy the car, all these fees for, this fee, license fee, and they charge you so much money interest if you're actually buying it from them on time instead of paying cash like I do. So I'd never buy a car from those people. That's just stupid. It's not a good idea. Private individuals are the way to go. You're losing money buying it from a national car dealer. I kind of laugh. You say, which should I buy it at? Many of these national big used car places, they get a lot of their cars from the rental places, and they're selling rental cars. And now by law, they got to tell you. So always look and ask them, is this a rental car? And they got to tell you, yeah, it came from Avis or whatever. But they have to tell you. And if they told me that, I'd walk, say, no, I want one that a regular person drove. Or maybe one that was leased for a company. At least they take some care of it, but not a rental car. All those different people drove the heck out of it. I would not buy one. Dwayne 2312 says, Scotty, I suspected that a digital odometer would be easy for somebody to turn back. Are they easy to turn back? Can you tell if it's been turned back? Computer dudes can do anything. I mean, they can set it and understand your entire computer system in a car. It could be completely erased and reprogrammed. Nobody but an absolute computer nerd would be able to figure that had been done. And some guys, they'll take dashes out of a lower mileage car and put it in a high mileage car and say, well, there's the mileage. When you buy a used car, you want proof of the background, the mileage and stuff. Now, that's the one thing that those car reporting things like Carfax are generally good for. It's a matter of public record in most states that they're inspected. It has the actual mileage of the car, and you can see the history of each inspection and the mileage, and that'll tell you the real mileage on the car. They're good for that. Now, they might tell you it wasn't a wreck, but it wasn't a wreck, so they're not that great for that. But for the mileage, they're pretty good. You get one of those, you can see the actual mileage. You say that's real, that's not real, and you can't hide from that. So that's the best thing to do, because you can't tell. Like when I was a kid, they said people would get a drill and they'd run it backwards to make the speedometer, the odometer go back, and then the lines wouldn't be the same. They'd be straight instead of slightly crooked like a normal one would. But with the digital stuff, no, you wouldn't be able to tell. But there's always a trail of paperwork for any car that was legally registered in the states of the United States, so you can see the actual mileage, oil change records, inspection records, and then you could tell. You don't want to go by what it says, because yeah, they can be sent back. But it's against the law to do it too, so most dealers are going to be kind of shaky to try something like that in the first place, because there is a trail of what the mileage was in there inspected. And if they sold you one and it was less, you could sue them and you would get triple damages, and you get to keep the car too when it's fraud like that. So they're not going to do something like that. Maybe a shady guy on the side will, but like I say, the Carfax will tell you the mileage. They're good for that kind of stuff. Kim Christian, 1966, says, I got an '07 Volkswagen Jetta. I can't get the last strip lug nut off of the tire. Been trying for 5 months, tried everything. People tried drilling it out. They couldn't get it out. Help. Here's what I do, and it always works. You got those crazy Volkswagens, one where the whole bolt assembly goes in, and your head's stripped now, it won't come out. Volkswagen's crazy design, and you get the wheels on. It's a pain in the butt getting them on, because you don't have the lugs sticking out where you can get them on and put the nuts, the whole thing fits in. It's just a stupid German design, but hey, they stick by it. Get a good welder. He welds a new nut on the end of it, the whole way around. Then it's solid. Weld material is stronger than the material it's welding if done right. He just has an air impact, and it'll come right up, because that's welded on, and that's a brand new nut, and it's not stripped, and you can get it off. That's how you do it. Then when you got an air impact or whatever, it will come out. Now, let's say you don't have an air impact. Well, then get a giant long extension bar and a piece of pipe to make it longer, and then it will come off. You'll be able to get it off. The problem is the head's stripped, and then they're a pain in the butt. But when you weld a new nut on, it's a brand new nut, and it's not stripped, and it will come off. Believe me, I've done that many times, and it always works as long as you weld it on nice and tight. All right, Rivian, the electric truck company, they're now valuing it at $66.5 billion. This is a company that this quarter, they figure they're going to lose $1.28 billion, but they'll have $1 million in revenue. Well, you know, $1 billion is 1,000 million. They got 1 million, but they lose 1.28, so they're losing more than 1,000 times. But realize the big winners in this are the people who've already invested. Amazon owns 22.4% of the Class A shares. Ford owns 14.4% of the Class A shares. So guess what? These guys are going to be making a bunch of money. Maybe they can just stop making cars and just do investing in companies that lose money. And then when they go IPO, they can make a bunch of money and cash out. I just don't understand. And an unproven thing, electric pickups, they might be a complete failure. Who knows? They're already having a problem selling the electric stuff to real business guys. The business guys are like, hey, I run a business. I know this diesel truck, this gasoline truck will last so many miles, cost me so much. Electric, that's completely up in the air. I don't know. Maybe they'll fail. Then my business will go down because I can't deliver stuff because the trucks aren't working, or they break all the time, or nobody knows how to fix them. Business people aren't going to go throwing their money wildly like some of these investors that get in a feeding frenzy, and then they start making all these stocks that are worth nothing go up, up, up. I mean, look at the other day. Oh, Elon said he's thinking about selling some of his stock. Immediately, over $100 billion in value. It went down 12% in value just that one day because he said that. It's insane, you know, that kind of money. Oh, it's gone because he said he's going to sell. Who knows? Who's shorting? Who's going long? What games they're playing on the stock market? It's not really investment like it used to be. They just try to cash in with the IPO, and then if it all goes down, it's other people's money they're gambling with, not their own, right? Think of a good idea. Make your own business. Make it work. You know, don't invest in somebody else's Ponzi scheme. That's all I gotta say. I just find it amusing that a company that is going to lose $1.28 billion in a quarter and has a whole $1 million in revenue, they're saying it's worth this much money, which actually would be more money than Ford's worth or GM. It's crazy. It's just crazy. So watch your pocketbook. Let me tell you. Don't jump on the bandwagon with everybody, because you don't want to be under the wagon when the wagon tips over because you decided to jump on the bandwagon now. But like I say, I mean, Ford, they got it in the ground floor, and now it's going to be worth a whole bunch of money. So you don't jump on the bandwagon once it's 3/4 of the way down the street, let me tell you. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.